Hello, I am Comic Field. Today, I defend the Brony Fandom. The Brony Fandom is a fandom made up of, at one point, millions of fans, spanning from little girls to 50-year-old veterans, even the elderly like MLP. At one point, MLP was a phenomena, but lately, hatred of bronies is starting to become mainstream and streamlined. It was always there, but mostly just followed by edgy 12-year-olds or basement dwelling neckbeards that the former would grow out of, and the latter would eventually move on to something else to hate. In this video, I'll be covering different arguments as to why the Brony fandom is bad in their eyes, and I'll be shutting them down because I know that it's bullcrap, and you should too. I'll be doing so respectfully, though, as respectfully as possible. But if I say something really dumb, or if they say something really dumb, I will address it as such. Understood? Good. The Brony fandom is full of Nazis. Okay, we're off to a weird start. Some people argue that the Brony fandom has a Nazi problem. Do we, though? Like, sure, there's Ariane, but that was more just an edgy joke than anything unironic. Hell, even I made a silly little video made from the scene where Hitler has a crash out in Downfall about how Ariane was made as a joke, and he got super pissed that she wasn't made unironically. To get the elephant out of the room, yes, on Twitter and formerly 4chan, there was a good bit of self-declared bronies that were defenders of the Third Reich. I say formerly 4chan because, to be honest, slash NLP slash is mostly just people sharing their art and stuff nowadays. Twitter, on the other hand, yeah, there's no defending it with folks that tag themselves with stuff like pony rapist and Nazi horse molester and shit like that. But I have a rebuttal. Look at these people's profiles, honestly. They never talk about the show. They never talk about it, ever. You only talk about, like, the main six and Derpy in relation to how much they want to fuck them. But ask them who Nightmare Moon or Chrysalis or Terex is, and they'll probably not. I'll give you a proper answer. Generally, bronies are left-wing, from what I've seen. There are some bronies on the conservative side, but usually the worst you'll see is unintentional transphobia by older folks. So, no, the Brony fandom is not full of Nazis. The Brony Nazis you'll see are just edgelords that haven't watched the show, and if they did, they saw it like years ago, back when it was a fad on 4chan. Why are you, a grown man, watching a show for little girls? That's pedophilic. I don't know. You tell me. Why are you playing a game for little boys? Why are you reading comics for teenagers? You see where this argument falls flat? While kids definitely shouldn't be consuming adult media, especially pornography, the other way around does not apply. There's nothing wrong with adults liking media for little kids. Not NLP, not something like Sesame Street either. Hell, a lot of people watch stuff like Sesame Street for either nostalgia or because they were traumatized as a kid and want escapism. I have no idea where the hell you get the pedophilia thing from, at least in this aspect. The Brony fandom traumatized kids. No, we did not. You saw a scary video as a kid. Those things are not on par with each other. Trauma is caused by seeing or experiencing something terrible or horrible as a kid or an adult. For example, you could be raped. That's traumatizing. You could be sexually assaulted. You could see your parents die or other family members die. Maybe you got abused verbally, physically, or sexually. That is trauma. Not seeing a My Little Pony parody where Pinky Kamehameha's Applejack. You got it? You do? Oh, you don't? Okay, well, whatever. They stole little kids' spaces. Kids have their own space. Yeah, it's called daycare. I have a belief that kids under 13 should not be using the internet without adult supervision. There is so much shit on here that kids should not be fucking watching that go beyond MLP horror, such as real life gore. You know how much gore there is on the internet? The subject intrigues me in a way. I mean, no, I don't watch the gore, but I do want to know what the hell happened that caused it, so I watch videos about it. Or what about porn? There's a lot of porn on the internet. Now you may say, well, didn't you cause it? Rule 34, you mean? Yeah, something that every fucking fandom on the internet does. Like, if you take issue with Fullcon or something like that, or Lolicon more broadly, then yeah, you're absolutely all in the right to be mad there. But still, it's still the pedophiles. This is the one argument that makes somewhat sense, I think. Yes, it is true. The MLP fandom does have a few pedophiles. I cannot deny that. But the problem with this argument is that people think that we just let it slide. We do not. When Toon Critic, just an example, was exposed for trying to meet up with a 14-year-old Filipino girl at a con, all of his friend group, the Rift Cafe, confronted him, kicked him out, and told him to seek therapy. Or what about Mando Pony? Whenever Mando says anything, we always say stuff like, "Shut up, pedo pony," and tell him to bugger off. But people say this argument as if we just say, "Oh, you're a pedo. It's okay if you say you're sorry." Yeah, we don't. And if you do, that shit ain't cute. I do try to take accusations with a pinch of salt, though. I won't get into that. It's cringe to watch MLP. Yeah, you know what else will make you cringe? Me, when I come into your house at 3 a.m. and take a shit in your sink. And that's all the arguments against our fandom that I could find. If there are any more, tell me in the comments and I'll make a full reply. If it's something stupid like the last one, I'll just say something stupid in response, like the last one. Subscribe for more horse.